Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
What fresh hell?
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
She's like, I'll have the salmon. And I'm like, no, you won't.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
I mean, talk about choices regretted.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to.
But I think I need a little more rigatoni in my life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy. This week, we're going to talk about how to make better decisions and also why making decisions is so hard sometimes, and sometimes really, really hard.
I love it. I have a long-standing piece of advice on this, but I'm going to see if it comes up organically during the episode.
Okay. First, quick mailbag.
Mailbag.
This mailbag is from Kat in our Facebook group, who reached out to say, come on, everybody. Amy and Margaret are just 12 reviews away from 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts. Let's help them cross the finish line. That is such good advice.
Come on. Kat is trying to lead the cats. She's herding cats.
Right. It would be very nice. Or you can review us on Spotify or Good Pods or Overcast or wherever you listen. You probably have already, but if you haven't, please do. It really helps.
If you have a spot, leave us a review.
That's right. All right, so let's talk about why decision-making feels hard. The first thing that came to mind for me is this, that we have to decide what's for dinner every night for the rest of our lives as grown-ups seems just exhausting. Turns out that's universal for a reason.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, hating it. The average adult, it turns out, makes over 200 decisions every day about food, just about food, when you really micro it.
Yeah, like, am I going to have crunchy or plain peanut butter?
Right. Or do you want oat milk? Is that a large or a small? Like, we get to 200, and that's an average adult, not a parent that has to make dinner for kids. So we must make like 400 decisions every day about just about food.
Do they break down? I don't want to jump ahead, but do they break down into like pleasant decisions and unpleasant decisions? Because for me, like deciding what to eat at a restaurant, love it. Decide what to have for dinner at home, hate it.
Yes, there's kinds of decisions and there's time frames of decisions. And yes, there are reasons why decisions are hard. We're definitely going to get to that. We're going to talk about why we struggle and then talk about how we use like the science around why decisions are hard to make them better or at least easier. But what's interesting, as you'll find out, is like better and easier are often the same thing. More belaboring does not actually lead to better decisions often.
I 100% believe that deciding is the job and belaboring the decision, I'm never in favor of.
I mean, Malcolm Gladwell wrote that book, Blink. That's not always true. Like your first instinct is not always the best one.
No.
But nor is it always the worst one. So anyway, there's this thing called choice overload. Some people call it analysis paralysis. We love a rhyme. Mm-hmm. And it's a thing. Choice is essential to our sense of autonomy. Freedom of choice is essential to everything that we are. We want to be able to decide what we do with our lives. Choice is freedom. So you would think the more choice, the more freedom. The more choice, the better. But paradoxically, variety actually makes choice harder. The more options you have, the harder the choice gets.
That seems 100% right to me. I mean, this is my Aunt Terry saying that she looks at the young women of the family and is like, God, I'm glad I didn't have as many choices as you did, because I just
Teacher or nurse?
made a home and was happy with it after being a teacher or a nurse. And I didn't have to decide a lot of stuff. And obviously, I don't argue for that point of view, because I think that women should have the freedom to pursue what they want. But yes,
It's not uncomplicated. And having
No.
too many options and too many decisions to make can make us feel less in control, which leads to this choice overload where we sort of freeze.
And I'm going to just go for it and say the downside of capitalism writ large is too many choices. You go to the store, the market is just driven by like, have I innovated peanut butter? Now it has hazelnuts in it. No, it has chocolate in it. No, the peanut butter and jelly is already combined, because people are driven by the capitalist model to come up with more and more things. Having recently survived the holiday season, the problem of like, yes, I could get every single child a whimsical set of cups with our cat's picture on them. It doesn't mean I should.
Anything is possible. Right. You can get anything. Doesn't mean you should.
Anything is possible. Right. Do you want a like face mask of your own face that your cat can wear? I can find it for you.
So there was a study in 2015, the Journal of Consumer Psychology, where they pulled together like choice overload is a thing. Choices are good, and then too many choices are suddenly horrible. And why is that? And what happens? So there are 4 main factors these psychologists put together that make decisions hard. They sort of aggregated everything that was out there. The first one is they call choice set complexity. The example is like, say you have to choose tile for your bathroom. There's 500 tiles at the tile store. And because there's so many options, one of them somewhere here is the perfect tile for your bathroom, right? Like the fact that there's more options, more kinds of peanut butter that you can have means that the choice becomes more important, because there's so many here. One must be the most perfect out of all of them.
And there's a haunting feeling that you might have missed the perfect one.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that. The next factor that makes decisions hard is decision task difficulty, which by that they mean the external factors that make decisions difficult, like decision fatigue, which is its totally own thing. We're going to get to that. But decision fatigue is like, I've had a long day and I don't really care what's for dinner, right? That's one.
Right.
Or you have 30 seconds to decide if you're going to grab this concert ticket or not. That's decision task difficulty. And I'm not sure, and should I spend that much money? That's a difficult task for external reasons. The third one is preference uncertainty. This makes choices hard because you really don't know which tile is the best for your bathroom. I have a friend currently stuck on this right now. Like, how can I possibly, she was showing me like, here's the wall and here's the floor, and she needs to redo the tile in her shower. And how can you possibly decide? It's hypothetical.
Right. You can't see it. And I think when you put too much pressure on the decision, you're going to look at that tile for the rest of your life and be like, it might not have been the right one.
That's what these psychologists.
Whereas when you move into a house, you're not like, let me analyze this tile.
Right.
It's somehow that the fact that you had control over the decision kind of ruins it.
Right. This is a house that you've moved into, and for 20 years you've lived with that wall and floor and whatever, and you never looked at it twice. Now that it could be anything, it feels really important. And that's decision goal. That's the fourth factor that these psychologists say can make a choice hard. The bigger the decision, the harder it can seem. Now, there's some people for whom everything seems like a big decision. Like super salad is a huge decision, right?
Right. That's Chidi from The Good Place. Did you watch The Good Place?
No.
Oh, you got to watch The Good Place. So good. You and your daughter should watch it. You guys would love it.
All right. Well, they need a show to watch together. So this is like, of course, sometimes, where am I going to go to college? Should I stay in this relationship? Should we move to be closer to my parents? These are the bigger the goal that you're making choices around, the harder the choice can be. That seems very obvious. But the problem is when it sort of trickles down and like, now I can't decide what's for dinner either, right? Like now I can't decide about anything.
Yeah.
That's decision fatigue. So when there's too much choice, it becomes stressful. Choice overload makes it all very, very stressful. Then we have anxiety. Now the decision has all this anxiety around it for all these different reasons. And so there's a bunch of things that we tend to do when this is the case. The first one is avoid the decision avoidance. This is, I'll watch anything. What do you want to watch? I also will watch anything. Okay, well, let's like scroll on our phones until we get too tired to just, the decision is no decision.
Yes.
Because you're so tired to not make the decision.
Yes.
And here's where decision fatigue comes into play. I used to see this in my husband, and I thought he was joking. Like, he'd come home and I'd be like, do you want to do this or this? And he, after a day at work, he would just be like, I don't know. I don't care. And I would be like, you make decisions all day. Just tell me, do you want this or this? But that's why. That's literally why I've made decisions all day and I'm out of decision-making capacity.
Yeah, I think it happens to a lot of people and for kids sometimes too. Like I find it's an old toddler thing, right? Do you want to wear the black shirt or the red shirt? But not which shirt do you want to wear? Because it's too open,
Yeah.
And that sometimes... exactly. My husband and I were recording this on a Friday. Fridays usually takeout night for us. And I can already feel it. I'm like, I don't know. You decide. And then whatever it is, I just am not, who cares? I'm burnt on everything. I don't want anything. I'm tired.
That's like to be applauded, right? Like you shouldn't also have to decide this when you're making all the, it isn't like every decision must be careful and every decision must be perfect. And you can't use a randomizer on the internet to choose what's for dinner tonight. You could do that too.
If somebody showed up with dinner, I would like whatever it is. But the idea that I have to commit to something, I like it less for some reason.
When you're a parent, you do have to make choices for your kids. One of my kids was struggling with anxiety as a youngster. And I couldn't get this kid to just tell me, this is what I brought to the, professional that was helping me. Just tell me what you want for breakfast. And they won't, and they can't. And this professional was like, you want this kid to make a choice. Just hand them something. Just hand them something. And that was definitely good advice. And it didn't matter. And this kid didn't care. They just didn't want to have to make a decision in the first 10 minutes. They were awake. They were easier to please. Well, I want to make them something they don't want. Guess what? This kid will eat anything because they're half awake and just hand it to them. But I don't want to have to make choices about that. Well, you're the parent, so you will. And then maybe you'll be too tired to decide what's for dinner. But choices can be overwhelming for some people most of the time. And for most of the people, some of the time. Decision fatigue. This is interesting. It degrades satisfaction. So going back to that example of like...
This is it. You're the takeout food.
Yeah. Or like, I don't care what we watch. Should we start a new season of Fargo? Like, I don't care. I literally don't care. Well, neither do I care. And then you don't make a choice and you just both look at your phones until it's time for bed. And then you go to bed with like that bitter taste of regret, right? Like, why didn't we do anything? We could have done something.
But I think it sometimes also degrades the choice itself. That you're like, should we watch the first season of Fargo or should we watch Dancing with the Stars? And you're like, I don't know. Neither one of them sound great. And then as you're watching Dancing with the Stars, you're like, maybe Fargo would have been better than this.
Oh.
It even affects, I think, the quality. It's the staring at the tile and being like, maybe it wasn't right after all.
There's a word for that. It's called the paradox of choice. And it's one of the problems that makes choices hard. We second guess. We ruminate on the road not taken, whether it's, maybe we should have watched Fargo instead of, right?
Right. Or maybe I should have married my high school boyfriend.
Yes. Right.
Not an actual
That's
example
not you, though,
for me.
right? No, okay. All right. Just making sure.
I didn't start dating until college, so I definitely could not have married my high school boyfriend.
Well, the funny thing is that probably would be less likely to happen for a given person because did I make the right choice? That's more likely to come into play the more choices you had. So you probably only had one or two high school boyfriends.
I didn't, believe me. I didn't have a lot of choices. I had 0 high school boyfriends.
I had one.
Nobody would return my calls.
But you're less likely to be like, oh, should I have married
I clung to my spouse like a life raft in the ocean, man. I wasn't making choices.
Save me. But you're less likely to feel that way about when it was, should I do this or that, than I have 500 choices at the tile store and I picked the one with blue specks and maybe I should have picked the one without blue specks.
Well, I was listening to a podcast about The Bachelor the other day and they were saying like, it is this weird cocoon where you're suddenly convinced that the 25 random, extremely attractive, but random people in any given house are your soulmate hides among them, The perfect tile is in there.
Well, it's kind of appealing. And it's like, I mean, right? Like I don't buy it, but right. Like your perfect spouse is somewhere in this house you'll have to live in together for 2 weeks. I mean, it's not true, but the limited options are useful.
Yeah. And people kind of think like, well, how could I fall in love with more than one person? It's like, because the whole thing is predicated to convince you that the right tile for your bathroom is in this room.
The perfectest choice exists. That's right.
It's in here.
Right.
That's what you're told.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the other things we do to reduce our anxiety around decision making, which makes it more anxiety producing.
Love it.
Hellions, it's time for some spring cleaning, and I don't just mean the coat closets. Doing your financial spring cleaning can actually be super easy when you let Monarch do your financial spring cleaning for you. One dashboard that gets your entire financial life organized. No more clutter, no more mess, no more logins scattered everywhere, just accounts, investments, property, and more, all in one place. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code FRESH. Monarch allows you to look not only at what you've already spent, but also to plan for the future. With Monarch, you can set savings goals, plan for big purchases, and notice spending trends before they become a problem. I can generate cash flow reports that show me what we spent this quarter, this month, what we're probably going to spend next month, and feel prepared, organized, and knowing how to plan for the future. No more surprises and a lot more clarity. Try Monarch. Use code FRESH at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code FRESH.
All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that, taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. And it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women, tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING. So we're stressed about making decisions. Sometimes we avoid making any decision at all. Sometimes we make a decision and then ruminate that it was the wrong one. Another thing we tend to do is settle for the default choice. This is hurry up and decide. It's like the Soup Nazi episode of Seinfeld. Like, you're next. The barista says, what do you want? And you're like, a coffee. Like, I don't have time to decide. Do I want gingerbread latte with skim milk and this? And so I just pick the easiest thing. I'll have a bottle of water. I'll have the default choice. And then you're immediately mad at yourself that you got nervous and just punted. I ordered a hamburger. And I'm like, I'm at a Japanese restaurant. What did I order a hamburger for? But too late now. You've made the decision. So this is like the opposite of delaying. It's like, you hurry up and decide.
This is why I make my husband order something that I like to eat when we go to a restaurant.
Yes.
So that I have 2 shots at it.
Yes.
And sometimes he's like, I'll have the salmon. And I'm like, no, you won't. I don't eat salmon. I don't like salmon. What if I don't like mine? Then I have no backup plan.
You have to make restaurant choices are definitely made in concert with the person you came with, ideally.
I'm a tapas person. I like a little bite of everything. Like, my best restaurant is like, let's go and we'll all order stuff and we'll all share it all.
Almost any restaurant can be, maybe not McDonald's, but almost any restaurant can be made into that. If you just say so.
That's my ideal way of eating. When we go out, like 6 appetizers, please, and you just get bites of everything. That's how I like to eat.
So the default thing is more likely to happen at times of already declined mental energy. Like when you're feeling great, you probably won't punt and get the hamburger at the Japanese restaurant. But when you've already, for external reasons, feeling like, I don't know, your kid is talking to you, whatever, that's when you hurry up and make a quick, not great choice. There was a study, this was interesting. People who were buying cars on the internet, they tracked the choices they made. They made more default setting choices at the end of the car buying process. At the beginning, what color do you want, right? Do you want sunburst or do you want azure? And you can spend 20 minutes on that. But then when you get to the end, like, do you want child locks? Do you want this? It's like, whatever you just tell me, right? Whatever it is, I'll just do. The longer the decision process gets, the more likely we are to default to the default. The last thing that like comes into play when you have to make a choice and the choice seems hard, you experience something called regret aversion. This I'd never heard of, but it's like, oh, I do this. You make a decision because you're worried that you will regret if you don't making that decision. In the future, I'll be sorry that I didn't do this thing. So a harmless example is it's going to snow tomorrow. I should go to the grocery store today because tomorrow me will be really annoyed driving over there in the snow. And I know it's going to happen. And so I'll be happy tomorrow if I make the choice now to do this thing I don't really feel like doing right now. Right. Saving future you. So sometimes that's okay. And then sometimes it's like, this is when I totally am a sucker for this. 6 people, like on Etsy, 6 people have this in their carts right now. Like, you have to get this. Or the sale price ends at midnight. Or right now, it's a 2-for-1. And so you avoid future imagined regret by getting it. And then you're like, why did I order 2 pairs of shoes that don't fit me and aren't well made? You know, that you're making a choice to avoid feeling regret later, which guess what makes you paradoxically much more likely to feel regret about that choice later.
Interesting. This is how my mother shopped her whole life. She would go to like Saks, pick out something, fall in love with it, and then decide it was too expensive and then leave and then just talk for like 6 months about, oh, that coat was beautiful. I probably should have gotten it, but it was so expensive.
The coat not taken.
The coat not taken. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you're probably better off than having a closet full of coats. Like,
right.
I think maybe you got as much enjoyment as you ever would have out of that coat by just trying it on. It looked beautiful on you. Like, I don't know. Do you need the coat?
That thing that half of the happiness of having a vacation is planning to go on the vacation, right? Is getting ready to go and thinking about how much fun it will be. That is like 55% of the fun of going on vacation.
Yeah.
For some people, I have somebody in my life like this too. Think about the coat. Should I get the coat? Go look at it. Now the coat's gone, whatever. That maybe some people really like, kind of like living that way. I don't know.
Yeah, it must have satisfied my mother on some level because it didn't happen once. It was like a monthly event.
So when you experience regret aversion and you make a decision because you're worried you'll be sorry if you don't make that decision, you're focusing on avoiding regret. You're not focusing on the objective pluses and minuses of your options.
Yes.
So that's why it's not great. And then when you ruminate on the choices that you didn't make, that of course leads to like, you've made a choice and now you're not happy with it. You're the kind of person who will never quite be happy with the tile that you picked.
Yes.
Because you ruminate, which is extremely human, but like it just, you know, so then your choices get like more problematic.
Where do you rank decision making as a problem in your life on a scale from 0, it is not a problem at all, to 10, it is a paralyzing problem in your life?
Not really a problem for me. I'm pretty direct and decisive. But sometimes it's a problem. I think that's what I learned researching this episode. Like, sure, sometimes, like, you have the flu and so does your kid, and somebody wants to know, like, that's going to be a stressful decision. Or you have to decide by May 1st where you're going and we didn't get the financial package back from the school yet. That's a stressful decision. And so I guess what I learned is, like, everybody's like that sometimes. And you shouldn't feel bad about yourself when decisions are stressful. But if they're always stressful, there's things you can do around it. How about you?
I think it's something that has become so much less stressful, but I've also kind of made a lot of the big decisions of my life. Like, what am I pursuing? I don't think my life has as many variables, because I was thinking, like, this isn't something I feel like I think about a lot, but I think that might be it. That my life just does not have a ton of variables right now in terms of, like, I know where I live. I know who I'm married to. I know who my kids are. I know how many I'm going to have. You know, I think that some of the decision making maybe gets a little easier as you get older.
That was what I want to sort of focus on next. Like, so like decisions are hard sometimes. Why is this a problem? Because for reasons like regret aversion might actually lead to you having more regret about whatever decision you made because you weren't looking at the choices carefully. You were just trying to avoid future sadness. Decision fatigue leads to worse decisions. There was a study among doctors that showed that as doctors got later in the shift, they would make decisions that were more often the default decision, they would choose a more conservative treatment option, maybe, like just do surgery when maybe the surgery wasn't necessary if you do this, or just take both medications rather than
fine-tuning it.
Right. Which is why I think there's starting to be a lot more pushback in the realm of medicine about this idea that like you should be superhuman and have, 14-hour shifts because you're not making as good decisions.
14-hour, 24. Yeah, crazy.
Exactly. So when our decision-making energy gets depleted, our choice-making actually suffers. And so the likelihood that you'll have satisfaction later also suffers. And so it actually matters that you protect your decision-making energy for the stuff that matters. Because like you said, sometimes you make decisions about things that really matter. I read an article about a kid graduating from college who had dreams of being a teacher, but went to a very expensive college debt, and this marketing firm was coming through. And they're like, okay, go work for the marketing firm, get the internship. So he got the internship. He's working for the marketing firm. You'll regret it later, right? Regret aversion. He becomes a marketing person and is like punching the clock and not liking it at all, because he made what seemed like the right decision and the decision so he wouldn't have regret later. And, a couple of years later, he became a teacher, which is what he wanted to do in the first place. Now, he had made more money doing this marketing thing and paid off a lot of his college debt. So maybe it was exactly the right decision. But he's like, I made the decision. Like, what do you mean you're not going to take the job at X firm that everybody would die to have an internship at? And he was like, oh, okay, I guess I should. So that's an example of like a big decision being not thought about the right way.
I think foundationally for me, the idea of decisions is, as so many things we discuss on the podcast, it can really be about the illusion of control. That like you can make the right decisions and have a good life or have good outcomes, and you can make the wrong decisions and have wrong outcomes. And that idea is, whether it's true or untrue, it's just fundamentally unknowable. Like when I was deciding whether or not to get married and have kids to my current husband, I decided to. I don't know what my life would look like if we had broken up instead. We broke up at one point, got back together. Like those decisions have had the most profound effect on my life. But the other path is invisible to me, And so I think that the idea that we tend to define backwards, that was the right decision, because look at where I am now, And God, I was just thinking about this in relationship to just the idea of the sliding doors and, every day, like you read about whatever, you see somebody on TikTok who's missing an arm, right? And then they get on and they're like, it was a Tuesday and I decided to go to the forest by myself or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, at some point during these decisions, you're going to lose an arm, It can paralyze you in that way of like, every day I have to make the right decision so I don't end up without an arm in the forest.
Right.
And you can't live like that.
You can't live with regret aversion.
No, I got a piece of advice a long time ago that I've shared before, but my husband and I say it to each other all the time. And I'm not going to lie, the person who gave me this advice, kind of a madman, like don't know that I should be following this advice, but I do. When you are faced with a decision and you can't decide, you should always choose action over inaction. That was his advice.
Yeah, give me an example, because that sounds like sometimes a great idea and sometimes terrible.
Should we go out to dinner tonight? If you really can't decide, go. I have another, what do you call that you live by? Dictum? What is it called? Like a principle that I live by, which is that you go to every wedding and funeral that you're ever invited to.
But that is decide once. That is like, yeah, I do that. Like, I'm going. It isn't like, should I go? And I might miss it. You have a rule for your life that removes that decision.
But the decision is rooted in action over inaction. Like I would rather spend 6 hours at a boring wedding than look back and be like, I can't believe I missed that person's wedding. I really should have been there, That's something I genuinely follow. And my husband says it to me all the time. He's like, let's just do action over inaction.
I want to move to like solutions, like some ways to make decisions easier. And there are lots of things like that you can do for yourself. We have a bunch. But I wanted to start with saying that not all decisions can be simplified. When you're a parent, you sometimes have to make pretty difficult decisions because you're making them for other people. So it isn't like, don't overthink, like pull them out of school. Who cares? Make the decision. We're not saying every decision should be made lightly or quickly, or that it's only your rumination that's making things hard at all. What I do want to say is like some decisions are really important and you need to save your decision-making energy for those decisions, because everybody's got a finite amount of decision-making energy. And there's ways that you can make decisions that seem hard a little bit more concrete.
Okay.
All right. Here's one thing you can do. make big decisions actually earlier in the day. This is from Psychology Today. Your cognitive function declines slightly as the day goes on, and your peak cognitive function is about 90 minutes to 2 hours after you wake up. So if you have a big decision to make, do it in the morning. I mean, I know I do better writing in the morning or even researching this episode. I was doing it last night and like my eyes were crossing. And then I woke up this morning, had a cup of coffee and I was like, oh, 1, 2, 3. It was so easy.
Yeah.
Because I had the cognitive energy of earlier in the day. So like I have to decide what tile I'm going to pick. I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to go to the tile store at 9:30 and I'm going to pick a tile by 10:30.
You know, the old expression, nothing good happens after midnight. The decisions I have made after midnight have been some of my weakest, shall we say. Like the late night decision making, not always for the best.
Choose action over inaction is go home at midnight. Like, should I have another
Choose
drink?
action over inaction,
leave.
except for after midnight,
Right.
at which point the only action you should take is get your butt home.
Right, exactly. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to go through all these other ways to make decisions a little easier.
Great.
At DSW, we ask the important questions, like, what shoes are you going to wear? Whether you're prepping for wedding season, festival season, or just planning the ultimate vacay, the right shoes can make or break an RSVP. So own the moment. You've got big plans, and we've got just the shoes. At the perfect price, of course. Get ready to get ready with Designer Shoe Warehouse. Head to your DSW store or dsw.com today and let us surprise you.
My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com.
And now, advice we definitely should not have listened to.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Oh my God, if you cover yourself completely in baby oil and then point a reflector towards your face, you will get the best tan.
Just sleep when the baby sleeps. No problem.
You should take the toddlers camping. That'd be fun.
Are you kidding me? No, you will never regret that tattoo of your college boyfriend's name. You have to get it. It's so romantic.
You should have another baby to keep the first baby company.
OMG. You should totally go hit on that guy. I mean, I know he has no job and no plans, and he's like already dated every girl in this bar, but he has the cutest Irish accent.
Just because I've never had kids doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to everything I have to say about how to raise yours.
Enjoy every moment, Mama. You'll never have these precious times again with your 3 kids melting down in a grocery store while one of them vomits.
This has been advice we definitely should not have listened to.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Okay, the next thing you can fix about what makes decisions hard. So the first one was we fixed the decision fatigue thing by, if it's a big decision, do it early in the day. The next one is this paradox of choice, that the more choices you have, if there's 47 kinds of peanut butter, I don't know what kind to buy. And you'd be like my father-in-law, and you're going to bring home the chicken nuggets that have the cheese in it. I mean, talk about choices regretted.
Monstrous. Please never mention that again. That was terrible.
So there's something that Science of People website calls the 531 decision funnel. This is like scientific, do it this way. You have to narrow things down and make a decision. Where should we go on vacation next summer? You could go anywhere, right? You could go to Great Wolf or you could go to Paris, whatever. You got a lot of decisions. Start by picking 5 things that are maybe suitable. Not the moon, like it's like possible in this world.
Not the moon.
And then you evaluate those 5 options more carefully. Then you narrow the list again to 3. And then you use your gut or pros or cons to make a decision. That you have to choose between the 5 things become 3 things, and then you pick one of the 3 things. You don't pick one of the anythings. You don't pick one of the 500 kinds of tile, that you narrow it first.
I'm going to quote Say Yes from the Dress right now. It's not Say Yes to the Dress is what it's called. The other thing you have to do is only include a reasonable options. Don't put in your options. They always say this on Say Yes to the Dress. If your budget is $5,000, don't try on a $12,000 dress because it will make all the other dresses look like crap.
That's a good point.
Don't put on your decision list, like, let's go for an all family, train trip around Europe if that's out of your budget, because now Great Wolf Lodge is going to seem terrible.
Right.
We could have been in imaginary Paris right now. It's like you could have never been in imaginary Paris. Don't try on a $15,000 dress if your dress budget is $5,000.
Say Yes to the Dress is actually like the perfect decision-making example. Go early, get the first appointment at Kleinfeld's.
Yeah.
Bring 2 friends, not 20, right? I want this kind of neck and I want this kind of bodice. And they'll show me in my price range 8 dresses with kind of that look and maybe 1 or 2 surprises. And then I'm going to decide. Yeah, it's exactly it.
Right. And by the way, it might be crazy. I look at some of my friends in their 80s wedding dress and I'm like, wow, you chose that. Interesting choice.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Seemed like a great idea at the time.
The next thing to make decisions easier is, as the lazy genius says, decide once. Like you were saying, like if it's a wedding or a funeral, I go. Unless I absolutely cannot, I go. I'm not going to ruminate about it. For me, I have the same baby gift I give every new baby that's born. And usually the next 2 or 3 too, I get them a monogram sweater. And I know, and I don't have to have it on my to-do list. It's a bing, 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 1 5-minute phone call.
We grew up, there was a commercial on TV that said Wednesday is Prince Ronzoni night. That was a brand of pasta. We had pasta and meat sauce every Wednesday night my entire childhood.
It must have made your mom's life easier because she had a lot of decisions to make all day long. And
she was like, great, love it. Let's do it, Prince Ronzoni.
And especially for kids, I mean, any kid likes certainty. Some kids really crave certainty. You probably had a good day all day Wednesday, knowing it was Prince Ronzoni when you got home.
Didn't have to worry about what was for
just
dinner.
Like, it's going to be awesome. And this is actually important. So experts suggest that if you are somebody who makes lots of decisions at work, you're an ER physician, whatever, that you should, like, it's even more important for you to have Taco Tuesday, to have the same breakfast every morning, to always wear gray pants and a blue shirt, whatever. Like if you have somebody that decisions are a huge part of your life, then simplify elsewhere. Find the routine. Just like we were saying about at the kids at the holiday time. Like you can't have everything be routine, but you can certainly have your outfits be routine if it's super stressful at work. The next one is offload when possible. This reminded me, I've said this to my kids. Somebody told me this, that if you can't make a choice, flip a coin and you will find yourself in the air, while the coin is in the air, slightly rooting for heads or tails. You'll do it. And then that's your answer. It doesn't really matter what the coin says. It matters what you secretly wished for.
There's a scene in Friends where one of them thinks they're pregnant. I think it's Rachel thinks she's pregnant. She takes a pregnancy test and she's like, I don't even know what I want. And Phoebe's like, it's negative. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, I'm just kidding. It's positive. And she's like, oh, like she realizes that she really did want to have a baby, because she told her it was negative. So I think that obviously that's an extreme example and don't do that. But letting someone else decide, like realizing, I think, even if you flip the coin and I don't know that you'll always have that feeling in the air.
But it's a good way to notice if you do.
But I think it's also accepting the fact that it's a coin flip fundamentally. Knowing that it's a coin flip helps. My nephew just got married and I didn't know this story until his wedding. His wife, she wasn't dating, and a bunch of her friends got together and put a profile for her, but she didn't look at the profile. They chose the person she was going to go out with from the profile, and it was my nephew, and now they're married.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, life is interesting. I just think the illusion that the way it happens is that you, through your really smart knowledge, go out and make correct decisions. But also, there's a lot involved that doesn't involve any of your smart choices.
The Science of People suggested like a version of the coin flip. It kind of combines the coin flip and the friends. And I thought this was interesting. Ask a friend, they say, to choose for you, and then pay attention to how you feel when they give their answer. If they say you should do door number 1, and you find yourself like all of a sudden sad, okay, that's useful. It doesn't mean you have to choose door number 1. It means you don't really want door number 1. Or if they say door number 3 and you're thrilled, awesome, then you know that was the right decision.
I think another thing that we haven't given voice to, but maybe it just seems obvious, is that all decisions have positive and negatives, you know? My son was recently, he's just getting to an age to start to think about the bigger pictures of stuff. And he's like, I just love animals so much, but I really want to be rich. And I can't decide if I want to just pursue money or my love of animals. And I was like, yeah,
Flip a coin.
it's not door number one and door number two. Like, it doesn't actually work that way fundamentally. But also, there are going to be pros and cons of both of those. If you could choose a door, both of them would be pros and cons. And on the other side would be lots of happiness and sadness, I bet.
Right.
It's not the lady or the tiger. Is that an Oldilocks alert?
Back in my day.
We used to read it in school, but the idea was it was a choice and you had to choose between two doors. Behind one was a lady and behind the other was a tiger.
Did you have to like kiss the lady, or was the lady your mom?
No. The lady was like a hot, sexy lady for you.
Interesting.
Now, did she get a choice to be behind the
Right.
door? We don't know as part of the story. But the idea was you were either going to get a wife or you were going to get eaten by a tiger. And that's not really how decisions work.
No.
This doesn't mean anything to you, the lady and the tiger?
I have heard of the lady and the tiger, but I didn't know that was literally was. There's a hot lady that you get to make out with, or a tiger that will kill you. I didn't. And like, where do I see myself in that binary? I don't think I do.
But the lady and tiger don't exist.
That's it.
They're all hallways where you sometimes run into ladies and sometimes get bitten by tigers. Like, there's no doors.
The pros and cons thing is something I have actually used in my life. Like when I can't make a decision of, do I want to take this opportunity on or not? Do I want to, I don't know, mostly for myself, personal stuff. And I would make pros and cons lists because I would find that when I really make the pros of like why I should go on this trip and why I can't go on this trip right now or I shouldn't go. And then you cross out the things that are hypothetical, the regret aversion. I never knew that was what it was called, but you remove the like something might happen while I'm gone, you know, or
Right.
maybe I'll get an audition and I'll miss it, whatever. Remove anything that was hypothetical. And then once I did that, there would always be one column that was way longer than the other one. And that would be my answer.
That's interesting. I think I need more in my life decision handbrake. You know, like I think I tend to just be like, we're doing it. Okay. There's a great New Yorker cartoon and it's a rigatoni and he's talking to a fusilli and he just says, okay, fusilli, you crazy bastard, I'm in. Like that's the cartoon because fusilli is just
curly.
And he's curly. He's just a nut job. But I think I need a little more rigatoni in my life.
You should use the Eisenhower Matrix. Do you know what that is?
Yes, please.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes. I thought about this as a productivity thing, and it is. President Eisenhower apparently made decisions this way. Each decision that you have to make is on an urgent scale, like a sliding scale, kind of urgent or terribly urgent, or an important, not that important, or very important. So if you can picture, there's 4 columns, and the first one is it's urgent and important. Got to call the doctor back. It's urgent but not important, which is probably like, Mom, I can't find my shoes.
Right.
It's not urgent but important. We need to do our wills. And it's not urgent and not important. It's time to sign up for the ladies' luncheon again, right? And so you put things that you have to make decisions about into one of those 4 categories. And if it's not urgent and not important, delete it. Like just ignore that email. That's what Eisenhower would have done.
Okay.
If it's urgent but not important, who can do it for you? Who can run get the toothpaste? If it's urgent and important, you're going to do it today. And if it's not urgent, but it is important, your wills, you put it on your calendar. This Sunday, we're going to sit down after the kids go to bed and talk about our wills.
Yeah.
That helps me. It does when I'm like, I have so much to do. Like, okay, but what do you need to do today? What are the decisions you need to make today by end of day? I have like 3 things on my list. By the end of the day today, I have to get back to this person. I have to respond to this and I have to send out this email. That's what I have to do. And the rest of it can wait. And I think that is just another form of choice reduction. I don't have to choose among the 200 things I could do. I have to do the 3 things that I have already pulled out of the pile. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. And I do think after talking about it, I probably need to take more of a pause and be like, this is a decision you're making. You know, I just tend to fly by the seat of my pants too much. And sometimes it's like, oh, that was a bad decision. You know, I just say yes to everything. And then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have had these 19 things all happening the week of Christmas, you know?
But if you're the kind of person listening who's like, oh my God, what am I supposed to get my sister for Christmas? I don't know. If you're that kind of person, you can listen to that. Be like, wow, you could shoot from the hip and things go well at least half the time, right?
Well, and you've said that you got advice a long time ago, like just make a decision and make it the right decision. And I do think in general that that's the best advice, that like what you got your sister for Christmas, I will give you $10,000 if she can remember it next year.
Yeah.
I bet she can't. I do not know what anyone got me last Christmas. I will not give you $10,000. This is not a binding contract. Don't call me. But then I think some of the bigger life decisions, as our kids are starting to think about like where they're going to college and stuff, yes, it will make a huge decision in the outcome of your life. You know, I was just talking to my other niece who recently got married. I was talking to her husband who was like, yeah, well, I thought about this school and I really want to go there and I didn't get in. And they met in college. And I think, you know,
Wow.
well, if you had, you would have never met her and now you wouldn't be my nephew-in-law. Like, I love when you said erase the hypotheticals because I think that the unknowable pieces you'll never know.
Right.
And like, is there a version of this kid who would have gone to school A and been a really happy, productive person, married to a different person than my niece? Yes, there is that version. And those unknowable things, like once the road diverges and the diversion is painful, you don't want to make the decision, or maybe you're forced off the road you think you're on, just saying like, this is now the path that I've chosen. I felt that way very much. I mean, I've told my husband this. I was fairly, ambivalent about getting married and having kids and kind of giving up my life. I was older and I was stressed about the decision about whether or not I wanted to get married. And the minute we got engaged, that just melted. I never felt it again. I always felt like really happily married and comfortable married, but I think there would have been a different life for me if I hadn't gotten married. And I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much. Obviously, I have kids. I would never undo it. But I think sometimes we act as if there's hypothetical good paths and bad paths. And I just don't really believe in it. I think there's always hallways, never doors.
There's always hallways. Can I give them one more piece of small advice for when a decision is hard?
Please.
It's the kind of corollary to the first one, like make those decisions early in the morning if they're hard. If you're finding yourself fried by like, I don't know what's for dinner, stop asking me, you need a break and you need a micro break. You might need a walk around the block or you might need 5 deep breaths if that's all you can have. But micro breaks, they actually are teaching doctors in the ER to do this now, to not go through your entire shift without centering yourself, you know, because you will make less good decisions as time goes by. So if you're finding your circuits really fried, they're fried. Just do a little reboot, and it doesn't have to be major, but it will make things easier. Or just say, you know what, I'm going to think about that tomorrow. It's okay to do that too.
Love it. Solved it.
Solved it.
Done.
Solved it.
If you want to make a great decision today, make a decision to review this podcast wherever you're listening.
That's right.
We are creeping towards that 1,000, guys, and someone's going to get us over the mark.
You'll see it's going to be completely different once we do. Everything is going to change.
I mean, talk about that door is going to open. There's going to be 20 dancing ladies behind the door.
Right. The door with
tigers.
the lady.
No tigers.
There'll be no more tigers. I think this is the perfect episode to send to a friend who enjoys podcasts but doesn't have kids or doesn't want to talk about kids or whatever. That this is the perfect sort of, this applies to anyone. Just send it to that person.
How to make decisions.
Yeah.
And with that, thanks so much for listening. We will talk to you next time.
Thanks, everybody.